Well, hello friends, and welcome to another WSIB Truth Matters, where I separate the truth from bullshit, facts from fiction, in plain English. So today we're going to talk about accountability and who's really calling the shots down at the WSIB. So let's get at it. And we're back. I hope you're doing well today. So last couple of videos I've been talking about this WSIB revolving door of case managers. It just seems like every other week you get a new one. And I get this kind of complaint all the time. I also talked about my opinion as to why I thought that was happening very frequently. And so having been involved in this business for over 30 years and having dealt with the WSIB day in and day out, as well as the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal, I've come to see some of the trends over the years, what they're doing, and when they make changes to the policy or to the act, their internal process, how everything changes. And it's a never-ending story. But I think that the biggest problem with this revolving door of case managers, as well as return to work specialists and eligibility adjudicators, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the leadership, the people at the top, they don't seem to know what the hell they're doing, because there's a lack of consistency. And when you have that lack of consistency, then it affects how the claims are being handled, how long it takes for cases to be handled, and of course creates a lot of confusion among injured workers, which I think is by design. So I often get the question, well, Joe, you know about this stuff. WSIB, like, is it a government agency? Is it a federal agency? Is it private? Who's actually in control? And it's a fair question, because they haven't done a very good job at actually coming out and informing injured workers, what they need to know. So it is a provincial agency. It has nothing to do with the federal government. Each province has their own workers' comp insurance system or injury management system, if you will. They all have different names, and they have different laws. Some of them may be a little bit similar, but for the better part, each one has their own. They're very different. So it is a provincial agency, and it falls under the Ministry of Labor. So the Minister of Labor is actually the one responsible for overseeing the operations of the WSIB, but there are others. So I'm also going to talk about who, the players, who's actually in charge. So the Minister of Labor David Piccini, under the Ford government, he is actually responsible, or his ministry is responsible for overseeing the operations of the WSIB. Another important player is Grant Walsh. He's the chairman, or the chair of the Board of Directors of the WSIB, as you can see up here. He's responsible to chair the Board of Directors. The board members are appointed by the province, so by the Minister of Labor. And then the guy who's actually in charge of running or overseeing the day-to-day operations of the WSIB, and you've seen him refer to him in the past, is Jeffrey Lang, the president of the WSIB. So now you know who the players are. So taking it a step further, how are these individuals and the two, the government of Ontario, the Board of Directors, and the WSIB connected, and how do they operate? So for me, it's always been about accountability and transparency, because as I'm sure a lot of you have experienced, it looks like there's no consistency in decision making. One day it's this, the next day it's something else, and delays in making decisions. Oftentimes decisions that aren't well explained or supported by law or applicable policy, whether it's within the evidence or following all of the evidence in the case file, or whether they base decisions on some other reasons. Sometimes they don't tell you. So this type of consistency is concerning, and I think that the person who's responsible for ensuring that there is consistency in decision-making and following the law, to ensure that adjudicators or case managers have the resources to do their jobs, proper training, have the experience. There's a lot, but the guy who's supposed to be doing this job is Jeffrey Lang. And it just seems like there's a lot of changes taking place, and at the end of the day, the ones that suffer are the injured workers, yourselves. So when dealing with accountability and transparency, I always look to the executives. I'm not dealing with appeals or the tribunal right now. I've talked about that, and there's a place for WSIB, the Appeals Services Division, that I don't have any faith in, and you know that. I've mentioned that in many videos. I do have confidence in the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal because they actually care about the law and make decisions that are based in the law. But for the purpose of today's video, I want to talk about the executive branch, the operations division. They've referred to it in many different ways, but that's where you have the case managers and eligibility adjudicators, return to work specialists, managers, directors, VPs, all 22 of them, and so on. And this large infrastructure is supposed to oversee this organization to ensure consistency. But it seems like with 22 VPs and all of these managers and directors, they still have problems. So if you need to get your questions answered, and if you have concerns about consistency and about making sure that they're following the law and that they're being fair and making just decisions, then you go to the guy upstairs, Jeffrey Lang, right up here. Now, beyond that, if Jeffrey Lang isn't responding and you're not getting your questions and your concerns addressed, then you go to the chair. And that would be, as you can see here, Grant Walsh. He's the chair of the board. The board isn't responsible for the day-to-day operations of the WSIB. Jeff Walsh is, or Jeffrey Lang is. But the board is responsible and has a mandate to ensure that the WSIB is functioning within its mandate and in accordance with the Workplace Safety and Insurance Act and the previous acts before that. They have a responsibility to ensure that consistency, that injured workers are being treated in a fair manner, that it's in a just manner, that their concerns are being properly addressed and adequately addressed, and that they know why decisions are being made in their claim, and have an understanding of what those decisions are to then determine whether or not they go to appeal. So if you're not getting those answers from those within the hierarchy, then you go to Grant Walsh. If you're not getting that sort of response from Grant Walsh and the Board of Directors, then you go to the Minister of Labor, David Piccini, right up here. The three-member alliance. And Even though, and this is my opinion, I don't think that the WSIB concerns itself with accountability and transparency. I don't think they give a shit about it. And I get this from the thousands of cases that I've dealt with over the years and that I deal with on a regular basis from our members. I get to see the same crap that I've seen for years. It doesn't seem like they give a shit. It doesn't seem like they care about accountability. And they don't think that somebody can yank their chain. But you know what? Their chain can be yanked by either Grant Walsh, the chair of the board, with the board of directors, or the Minister of Labor. Because the Minister of Labor isn't going to look like a complete moron because of the fact that the WSIB can't manage its operations appropriately with all of the resources that they're given to do that. So as I'm sure you can tell, I've gone all the way to the top of a few things and they hate me because of that, but I don't really give a shit. At the end of the day, I'm looking for accountability and I'm looking for transparency in how they treat our members. And I don't stop at nothing until I get those answers. So how does this construct between this three-person alliance, three-organization alliance, how does it work? What's the legal basis for that? So it's handled in the form of a memorandum of understanding. It's an agreement. It's a 31-page document that describes the relationship between these three entities and how they're supposed to function, what is expected of each one of them. And believe me, if you go through this document, as I have many times, Jeffrey Lang has a whole list of objectives and matters that he needs to ensure are being addressed properly. It falls under his purview, and it is an extensive list. And if you want to see what's on that list, by all means, send me an email at joemachado@wsibsettlements.com, and I'll send you a copy of this agreement. But it is a legal document that sets out and it stipulates the relationship between the WSIB president, his responsibilities, the WSIB board, and the chair, Grant Walsh, and their responsibilities to the Minister of Labor to ensure that the process is running smooth and as it should be, and that they're serving those. There's two groups that the WSIB should be serving: the worker and employers. Nothing else. That's all they should be doing. Okay, but they don't seem to have enough time to do that because they find ways to just deny. That's their way of dealing and implementing the law and adjudicating claims. It's by denying and hoping that people will go away and will forget about it. And of course, a lot of you know what happens. Oftentimes, you have to go to work injured and it gets worse, or you're cut off. And oftentimes, you don't even know why you're being cut off. So this agreement will lay out, this agreement provides for all of the different stipulations required of the WSIB president, who's responsible for overseeing the WSIB, and the chair to the Minister of Labor. And I don't think a lot of people have read this document or probably even not aware of it. But it exists. It's a memorandum of understanding. And its purpose is pretty simple. Section 166 of the Workplace Safety and Insurance Act, 1997, requires that the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board and the Minister of Labor enter into this memorandum of understanding and specifies certain matters that must be addressed. Subsection 166.5 states that the board shall comply with the MOU. The board shall comply with the MOU. So it's not the board has the option to comply or the board has the option to observe some of the functions required of it. No, it doesn't say that. It's very specific. I particularly like Section 5 of the agreement that deals with accountability, relationship, roles, and responsibilities. And it really outlines and stipulates very clearly the obligations and responsibilities of the president, the deputy minister, the board of directors, the chair, and the minister It's all laid out there. Accountability, relationships, and roles and responsibilities. This is what they need to get back to. This is what these people need to know. That, you know what? We're watching. We're paying attention. We're not stupid. We're not weak. We're not uneducated. And we're not going to take your abuse and your bullshit. Because there's an agreement that stipulates what you're supposed to do. And if they're not following that agreement, then you take it to the source, and however far you need to make sure that they are. And it is one of the reasons that WSIB staff absolutely hate me, right up to Jeffrey Lang, because of the reason that I don't take no for an answer, and you have to explain in an adequate manner why decisions are being made that are not in compliance with the law and that are ignoring crucial parts of the evidence in any particular case that we deal with. So this is how you're going to get accountability, my friends. And you know what? If you feel and you're intimidated to do it on your own, because, you know, sometimes going up against these people can be a bit intimidating, no worries. Visit WSIBsettlements.com, my company, and we're going to make sure that we do what we need to do to make sure you understand your rights and that you're being looked after properly. Otherwise, we will shine that light on Jeffrey Lang and all of the fat cats within the WSIB, and we'll go to Grant Walsh and to the minister if necessary. All right, my friends. So anyway, I enjoyed taking the time to tell you a little bit about this organization. The 3-member alliance. Is it a good alliance or is it an evil alliance? You do have options. You don't always have to follow their bullshit and get pushed to appeals and end up on somebody else's desk when somebody who's handling your case manager or a manager, should make sure that it's being handled properly. There are options. All right, my friends. If you're new to the channel, thank you for watching this video. I hope you stick around, and I hope you subscribe to the channel. It's free. I've got over 160 videos where I talk about all different types of issues with the WSIB, from pre-1990 claims all the way to recent claims. I've been dealing with them for over 30 years, and I know how they operate extensively, both in front and in behind the scenes. I have no problem shining that big light on them. All right, friends, and as usual, and until the next time, take care.